One of the beautiful things about Rise of Kingdoms is just how appealing the game is to players of all different types of spend levels. Many players who don't mind grindy types of games can enjoy Rise of Kingdoms as a fully free-to-play player. Other players spend a small amount of money to get tremendous amount of value, and beyond that there are Krakens who spend enough money on this game to buy 2 or 3 brand new cars every single year. And recently I've gotten a couple of requests from people to update my spending guide in Rise of Kingdoms, so that way if you are a low spender or a whale, you will know what the best things are that you should be buying in the game. So that's what we're going to do today. But first, what's going on, guys? Cheers. Now, as you guys know, I am a partnered creator with Rise of Kingdoms, which means they support a few videos on the channel every single month, just like this one. So if you guys want more Rise of Kingdoms content, like and subscribe down below. And before we jump in, I do want to give you guys a quick disclaimer. This video is about spending money in a mobile game, and so I want you guys to know that spending money in a mobile game is a luxury. This is something that you should only be doing if you've already spent money on all of your necessities and all this other stuff, because spending in mobile games can sometimes get out of hand pretty quickly, and you might not even realize that you're spending $300-400 a month on mobile games. And so I just want to start this video off by saying, guys, be very conscious with what you're spending in any mobile game, not just Rise of Kingdoms, and not even just mobile games, console games, PC games, whatever. Please spend responsibly. After all, this is all digital goods. Okay, there's really no such thing as digital ownership, so understand that you are going to enjoy these things for a limited time. I am not a financial advisor. Anytime that I use the word invest in this video, if I do at all, it's merely talking about your account and getting future gameplay value out of that spend. This is not a financial asset. You're not investing in the sense of making money down the line. That's not going to happen. Okay, now the first thing we have to touch on when it comes to a spending guide in Rise of Kingdoms is how you should be spending your money, and this all begins with store.lilith.com/ROK. This is the online web-based store where you can purchase Flux scripts and get some number of Flux coins for your purchase in Rise of Kingdoms. So effectively what this is directly buying these bundles from the developers, and what this does is typically you're going to get these bundles either a little bit cheaper doing this, you know, for example a 14-day Flux script bundle, or a bag of Flux scripts in some number of combinations, but also you're going to get Flux coins as well from these bundles, which you can effectively use to exchange for in-game bundles as well. So buying things on store.lilith.com is almost always going to be more cost effective than making your purchase through your Apple App Store or through the Google Play Store or anything like that. The only exception to this rule is if you are able to find a gift card for the Apple App Store or the Google Play Store on sale somewhere. I know that this does occasionally happen at places like Costco, or for certain, you know, holiday Black Friday event type deals. In those scenarios where you can get, you know, 15-20% off gift cards, which is extremely rare by the way, but in those scenarios, then of course, yes, do that, buy the gift cards, use those gift cards towards Rise of Kingdoms. But in all other scenarios, you should be spending on store.lilith.com/ROK. This is pretty much exclusively the only way that I spend money on the game anymore, because it's just a win-win. There's no downside to spending here. You might as well get the Flux coins if you're going to spend at all. Now that you know the most optimal way to spend in Rise of Kingdoms, now we have to talk about the optimal times to spend in Rise of Kingdoms, because sometimes there are limited time events that give you tremendous value for spending in the game on bundles that you would have already be spending your money on anyway. And so there's a couple of different events that come around here that come to mind. The first is the recharge rewards event. This is typically a 5-day event that comes around usually with certain holidays, and you would want to spend 2,500 gems every day to unlock each of these chests. So as you can see, the first chest gives you some number of materials. If I could get my head out of the way. All right, you can also get a skill reset item which is extremely valuable. And then going through the days, some of the days give you good stuff, some of the days gives you okay stuff, but day 5 you will get 10 legendary commander sculptures and some more equipment material choice chests. So the recharge rewards is easily one of the best times to spend your money in Rise of Kingdoms, but just remember that it's gems per day, not total gems. Okay, so you don't want to spend $200 on day 1 and then nothing for the other days, because you're only going to unlock that first chest. Okay, the next event that is a really good time to spend in Rise of Kingdoms is called called Road to Greatness. It's also sometimes called Gem Rush, but typically this event comes around every once in a while for holidays, just like with the recharge rewards, and it typically requires that you purchase between 10 and 12,000 gems, and as you do that you will be able to claim these different gifts, and in these different gifts are sculptures of a commander of your choosing. Okay, now the reason that recharge rewards is a little bit better in my opinion is because that gives you universal sculptures which you can then save and use for future commanders that are even more powerful than the ones that are in the game right now, whereas you know Gem Rush or Road to Greatness, it kind of locks you into whatever the current meta is, which is fine because there's incredible commanders to get here, and almost everybody will have at least one commander that is worth getting from this event. So this is another fantastic time to spend in the game. And finally, when you enter kvk, there is a spending event called Bounty of the Ancients, and if you get lucky, the Bounty of the Ancients might overlap with some of the other events like the recharge rewards or the Gem Rush or something like that, and this is pretty much the same thing as the Road to Greatness that we just showed. When you recharge a certain number of gems here, you're going to get a bunch of different rewards, and this comes in the form of universal legendary commander sculptures, equipment, material choice chests. You also get some crystals, and the last event that is typically limited time that comes around once a month is the commander recharge rewards, and this is sort of a mini recharge reward event where it's only for 3 days. You only have to buy I think it's 1,000 gems per day, and at the end of the 3 days you'll get 10 sculptures of a commander of your choosing. This event is, again, this comes around every month. It's a small mini event that's not as important or impactful as the others, especially because the only thing that you get here is speed ups, resources, commander sculptures. There's no equipment, there's no crystal tech, anything like that, but I did want to at least mention this because you do get a little bit of extra value here on some spending that you may have already been planning to do anyway. So these 4 timed events are the best times to spend in Rise of Kingdoms, and I do just want to give a quick shout out to Shappy Gaming because I only had old screenshots of Bounty of the Ancients. I always keep forgetting to screenshot this, so shout out to Shappy for being a creator that just so happened to have both of these actually shown in one of his recent videos. Okay, so we've gone over how to get the maximum value from how you're spending. We've talked about how to get the maximum value of when you should be spending. Now let's talk about which of the bundles themselves, or which of the purchases I should say, will give you the maximum amount of value. And this part of the video is going to cover some bundles and purchases that you can make at pretty much any spend level. If you are spending on anything that we're going to cover in this section, then you are getting some of the bundles that give you the maximum value. So whether you're a low spender or a Kraken, you should feel really good about spending on these specific things that we're going to talk about here. Okay, and the first place we're going to start is actually in your trading post. You will see a little golden scroll right here, and if you click this is called the Lucerne Scrolls. This is effectively the battle pass in Rise of Kingdoms, and if you see behind my head here, there is something called Divine Inheritance, and this gives you 2 different ways that you can spend on this battle pass. You can either purchase this battle pass, I believe, for $5, or for $20 you can buy the battle pass with 50% extra value for the clues and 10 instant levels progressed. And honestly, unless you're really lazy, you don't need the $20 bundle here. You could just get the $5 bundle, and as long as you were doing all of your challenges every single week, which I've been a bad boy, you can see I've been a little bit lazy here, and also your season challenges, as long as you're doing a majority of all of this, you could typically skip like 2 or 3 of the weekly challenges here. Like I usually never do like the Guardians and stuff like that, but you know, you could skip a couple and you'll get close enough to where you could gem the rest if you need to, but really you shouldn't have to do that, as don't be as lazy as me. And for $5, you know, once you get all the way to the end here, once you guaranteed know that you're going to finish this, then you can spend the $5 and just go ahead and claim everything in the premium track, and this is going to give you tremendous value. This is going to give you a ton of transmutation stones, a ton of legendary commander sculptures, a bunch of AP. It's going to give you formation choice chests, some VIP, a bunch of gems here, which is amazing, and of course you're going to get your hands on the transmutation crystal, which is easily one of the most valuable items in the entire game if you get to level 50, because this resets the transmutation chances on your armaments. If you have no idea what that is, don't worry, you will when you get to the end game, and saving these and stacking these is going to be very impactful. But even if you don't need this right away because you're still in the early game, getting a blueprint choice chest for gloves, boots, chests, whatever it might be for the given month, then you're going to get value here as well. So this is like the number one place you're going to spend $5, get a ton of value. Just make sure that you can actually finish it. Next, we have to talk about the growth fund. This is available for your character one time for 15 US dollars. And what this is going to do is, as you get to City Hall 25, you're going to unlock more and more gems that you get here, which is going to give you a tremendous amount. Once you hit level 25, you can purchase this for $15 and you will get 81,000 gems. And as you guys know, if you've been to the gem store, you know that gems can be really expensive in this game, and so this is like the single best place to get a huge chunk of gems in the entire game, which is why you can only buy it one time. And the reason that gems are so valuable in this game is because gems are effectively the universal premium currency in Rise of Kingdoms. You can use gems in the early game to progress your account to get closer to tier 5, or you can use them on the Wheel of Fortune to get commander sculptures, or you can use them during the egg event to get your hands on some relevant blueprints and materials, or you can use it for an armament event. And as you can see, you know, you can sort of choose where you spend your gems so you can progress certain systems at a certain rate. After the growth fund, we have the 30-day gem supply, which is typically $10, but if you're a brand new player, there will be a one-time voucher that you will get for 50% off. So the first time that you buy the 30-day gem supply right here, it's going to be $5. After that, it will be $10 every month afterwards. And this is once again a tremendously good value because, as I just said, gems are the universal premium currency. You can flex these into different systems in the game, so where if you need more progress on commanders, you spend it on the wheel. If you need more progress on equipment, you spend it on relevant equipment events. And that's why gems are so valuable in Rise of Kingdoms. So the 30-day gem supply is incredibly good value. Next, we have a bundle called the Writer of History bundle, and this bundle is tremendously good value, but it kind of doubles as a both what to buy and when to buy, right? Because this is a limited time bundle. As you can see, this bundle is only around for a limited time, and I think it actually is only around for 1 hour if I'm not mistaken. But effectively, when you recruit a brand new legendary commander for the first time on your account, this bundle is going to pop up. You get a couple of goodies here for free. It's not much, but it's something. And then if you spend $5, you unlock the rest of the bundle, which gives you 10 legendary commander sculptures and I believe 1100 gems or something like that, as well as some stars and whatever the case might be. But really the value here is $5 for 10 legendary commander sculptures. This is easily one of the best bundles in the entire game when it comes to value, but the downside is that it is limited time. It only happens once in a while, and once it's gone forever. So if you have a commander that you haven't summoned yet, hang on to that commander unless you need them, because you want to make sure that you can at least buy this bundle when it does come around, because it is such good value. On top of that is the Vanquisher bundle. Now this might be an outdated screenshot, but effectively it is the same, where when you combine a brand new legendary blueprint for the first time, we're talking about equipment here, you're going to get the Vanquisher bundle pop up, and this is once again a limited time thing. You'll only have a small window of time to purchase this, but for $5 you get 4 legendary material choice chests, which are incredibly good value, as well as a bunch of gems, some VIP points, and some resources. This is once again for $5, insanely good value here. The bundle that I do think is really good value is actually the daily special offer. This value of this bundle has gone up tremendously over the years throughout Rise of Kingdoms, because they have included some heavy hitters in the daily special offer over the years. You can get latest and greatest meta commanders from this bundle. Depending on the age of your kingdom, you can get some really good stuff here, like Liu Che, like Zhuge Liang. Like, these are some of the best S+ tier commanders in Rise of Kingdoms. I recently posted a tier list video. If you guys missed that, check that out. But there are some really good commanders here, and for $3, they lowered the price of this a few months ago. For $3 you get all 3 of these: the Treasure of Courage, Wisdom, and King. And if you come in here, you'll see that each one of these has a chance of giving you some legendary commanders, sculptures of the commander that you choose. And so typically you'll find that you'll get between 4 to 7 sculptures every single day. Sometimes you'll get 1, sometimes you'll get 11, and so it balances out there. You probably get about 5-6 sculptures a day on average from this. Plus, this is also the single best bang for your buck when it comes to VIP points. Okay, so if you are looking to make progress on your VIP level, this is a great thing to purchase every single day, because I mean, this is just point for point the best place to get VIP points. Okay, So the value of this bundle has gone up tremendously over the years, as long as there's a commander here that you actually care about. Of course, do not buy this bundle for outdated commanders that nobody cares about, right? Like, it doesn't really make any sense to be buying this for Moctezuma. It's also worth noting that if you are a new player or a returning player and you have access to the commander swap event, then you're going to get access to the Fresh Faces bundle. This is effectively a $5 bundle and you get 12 swap tickets. This is also a very friendly low to medium spender bundle that you can buy, but it is, again, it's a super limited. It's like a 5-day thing and it only comes around once per account. So depending on when you're watching this, it's already too late to buy it, or hopefully you were able to get one or more of these bundles. There's limited of 10 and this lets you do commander swaps for your account. Next, I want to talk about a couple of bundles that are extremely good value, but they only apply to end game players. So these are players in season 4 and beyond, Season of Conquest and Rise of Kingdoms, and you've already gotten a couple of good commanders, a couple of decent sets of gear, and you are effectively in the end game participating in PvP for KVK. Okay, and that is the premium season crystal supply bundle. Okay, I know that this is not in US dollars, but this is a $5 purchase and it will give you 50% bonus crystal mine work speed. This is a limited time thing, it expires. Okay, so keep that in mind, but every time you go into a new Season of Conquest with crystal tech, then this is going to be the single best thing that you can buy there when it comes to getting crystals in that KVK. And in the same vein as that, there is the crystal quest. This is the effectively the battle pass for your KVK, and just like with the Lucerne Scrolls, you can buy this for $15, so it's a little bit more money, but you're going to get a ton of different crystals and other things in here as well. And so once again, if you are spending on crystals and you are in the end game, this is another tremendously good value purchase. Okay, so everything that we just covered here is really good value and can be safely purchased by low spenders, and you're going to know that you're going to get really good value, especially if it's during, like I said, the recharge reward, gem rush, or anything like that. Next, let's talk about some bundles that you can get some decent value out of, which would place you probably in sort of the medium spender camp. Maybe you're a small or medium sized dolphin in Rise of Kingdoms and you got a little bit extra that you can spend here. Okay, well, the first thing we have to touch on is, what are you actually looking to progress in your account, right? There's a couple of different things. First of all, you might need to improve your commanders if you're relatively new to the game, or if you've been playing for a while, maybe you're still working on your equipment or your armaments, right? And so what you can do is buy bundles that are, you know, generically useful, that give you a bunch of gems, and then spend those gems on the events that really progress those things that you care the most about. Or you can buy bundles specifically to improve some of those different systems. Okay, one of the first things that comes to mind here for a relatively new bundle is the Wheel of Fortune shop. Okay, as you can see here, this is the Wheel of Fortune. If you're a returning player to Rise of Kingdoms, you'll remember that the Wheel of Fortune is spun with gems, and that is still the case, but they recently changed it to where the gems actually buy tickets, and the tickets can be used to spin the wheel, and every time the wheel comes around, there's a $5 bundle, $10 bundle, and this actually goes up to $20, $50, and $100. Okay, and of all of these bundles, really, I would say the most valuable ones are the $5 and $10 bundle, because for those bundles, one ticket for $1 is kind of the exchange rate here. Once you get to 20, you can see that exchange rate drop, right, pretty dramatically, and then, you know, again, it's less than 50% here when you're at the $100 tier. Okay, so of all these tiers of the bundle, the $5 and $10 bundles are decent places to spend if what you need is progress on commanders. Okay, you can actually buy these every time the wheel comes around and just save all the tickets for a future wheel that you'll care the most about, so keep that in mind as well. I typically have not been buying these bundles because my commanders are fine, and I have tons of sculptures that I have saved up. For many of you, especially newer players, this is going to be a really great way to stockpile some value for and just dump it all on a wheel you care about. In the same vein as that is the pop-up bundles for crystal tech. So as you're progressing through your crystal technology, there's going to be bundles that pop up for $2, $7, things like that. Those typically give you really good value in terms of crystals for KVK, and so those are the best places to spend if what you care about is crystals. And then beyond that, we have some more of the supply depot items here. Now the beauty of these is you can also buy these during things like recharge rewards or gem rush or whatever the case might be, but getting the 7-day material supply is good value, the 7-day armament supply is pretty good value, and the 7-day speed up supply is pretty good value as well if you are still in the really early game, then the 30-day research supply is also really good value. Just make sure you're logging in every single day to claim all this stuff. You don't want to lose it. Beyond that, there are holiday bundles. Now, Legacy of the Great Chin is not technically a holiday bundle, but I'm just showing you here as a placeholder that, you know, whenever there's Easter, Christmas, or whatever the case is, usually every like 4 to 8 weeks there's a holiday bundle that comes around, and it's usually slightly better value than anything else in the super value bundle here, so just keep that in mind. And then finally we have what's called Mountain Warfare. Now, I don't have any screenshots of this because I'm not in KvK right at the time of recording this. The Mountain Warfare bundles show up in the shop when you are in KvK and an important pass is about to open. You will see Mountain Warfare show up in the super value bundle, and spending a little bit of money on this bundle is something that you might even consider doing as a medium spender because you get really good crystal value there. Now, it's not as good as the crystal mine work speed $5 tier. It's not as good as the sort of battle pass for your KvK. It's not as good as the pop-up bundles, but it's still decent. Next, let's move on to bundles that really are only being purchased by the high spenders. These are things that have less value than the things we've talked about previously, but there are still some instances where you might buy them if you are a giga whale. At this point in the video, we're talking about players who are spending over $400 or $500 a month. Okay, so that's who this part of the video is for. If that is you, then you can consider max purchasing the Mountain Warfare bundles. Now, when I say $400 to $500 a month, I'm talking averaged out across the year. Okay, so some months are going to be KvK months. You're going to spend a lot there, then you're going to spend less during off season, and it averages out to $400 or $500 a month. The Recast and Reforge bundle, it starts at a $10 tier, and also the Armory Alchemy bundle as well. It's $50. You get a ton of transmutation stones, transmutation crystals, a bunch of resources and speed ups. I know $50 for the entry level bundle tier is expensive, but the value is definitely there. There's also a bundle that comes around at the beginning of every month called the monthly special offer, where you can actually sort of choose what is in the bundle, whether you want some crystal keys or some speed ups or some armaments. Those are some bundles that you can consider buying. The monthly supply is I actually rather like the monthly bundle because you can customize it, although I haven't been buying it lately. Then there are limited time bundles like the Imperial Armaments bundle, and just below that is going to be the Royal Armaments bundle. The Imperial Armaments bundle looks just like this, but it's golden. That is typically like your best value when it comes to just straight up spending on formation choice chests. I also want to point out here, the high spenders are also people that might consider purchasing the Conqueror's Will bundle. This is actually, I'm stealing this from a Chiskel video, so shout out to Chiskel for having this actually shown. As you can see, the Imperial Armaments is here as well. Again, I'm not in KvK, so I can't actually literally show you the bundle right here, but Conqueror's Will you can buy every single day in Season of Conquest, but I think it's about $35. The value here is not as good as Mountain Warfare, so that's why only the high spenders should be buying this. Think, you know, rally, garrison leaders, stuff like that. There's also the Call of the Ancients bundle here, which is typically a bit better value than other things like the War Machine bundle. Okay, and then finally there is the Holy Knights Treasure bundle. I can't remember the exact name of it, but it is effectively a bundle that comes around whenever the Holy Knight's treasure is in town, and it ends up being exactly the same as the geared up bundle, except you can purchase the $100 tier 3 times, whereas with geared up I think you can only buy the $100 tier 1 time. So that, you know, that $100 tier is, you know, if you're going to spend your way up there, you could buy that multiple times during that event, which is nice. And that's pretty much going to conclude the high spender tier. Now we're entering into Kraken territory, and these people are going to be spending on things like the Royal Armaments, like we mentioned before, max purchasing this right whenever it comes around, basically every time it comes around. These people are also going to be buying the geared up bundle. They're also going to be buying the War Machine bundle, maybe Circle of Life as well. There's also Bumper Harvest, which I've seen some people buy if they desperately need resources during KvK, and really just anything else that we haven't really touched on here is something in the super value bundles that, you know, a Kraken might spend on. That also includes things like literally just buying gems, which is honestly like the worst thing you can do, but getting that double value on the first purchase isn't horrible for a Kraken, I suppose. There's also the special resource bundle. So yeah, pretty much the Krakens, the floodgates are open to you at this point. You could be buying whatever you want, and that is pretty much it. I apologize if you guys can hear my fan, but hopefully this video has helped you figure out when to spend, how to spend, and what to spend on in Rise of Kingdoms in 2025. If you know what you're doing, you can get a tremendous amount of value out of a very small amount of dollars spent. And if you found this video useful, consider dropping a thumbs up on it. It really helps out out the channel a ton. It helps get this video out into the YouTube algorithm so other Rise of Kingdoms players might see it. And if you're brand new here, consider subscribing to the channel and clicking the bell to be notified the next time I upload a Rise of Kingdoms video, because we are so close to 90,000 subscribers. Drop your comments down below if there's any bundles that I missed. There are so many bundles in Rise of Kingdoms, it's so hard to keep track of everything. So if I missed something, comment it down below so you might be able to help your fellow players. And with that being said, guys, thank you so much for watching. This has been Omniarch. We'll talk to you guys again soon. Peace.